Hey everyone, we're back. So sorry about that. So bear with us as we do another little intro of the game. But we're back, so yay! So today, actually first let's start with introductions. I'm Mandy, the board gaming pinup girl.
I'm Michael, known as Paulum.
And you can find me here on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing the live teach and plays on the Dice Tower and on Twitch, as well as the Dice Tower podcast with Miss Suzanne Sheldon.
And I can be found on Instagram as Paulum, P-A-W-L-O-M, and here every Monday nights. Same thing, YouTube, Twitch,
I know, it's like a bit of deja vu.
Yeah.
So Dragon Castle was published by Horrible Games, was designed by Lorenzo Silva, Jalmar Huck, Luca Ricci, and artist is Xin-Yi Chu.
Nice.
All right, well now that we've made it through all that good stuff, maybe let's just get right into
let's get to the good
what
stuff.
Is it about?
Yes.
Let's
Apologies
talk
for
about
the slight delay there, technical difficulties, but I think we're good now.
Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying before, Dragon Castle. We are going to be collecting the pieces of this castle in the middle that will be falling apart as we're picking pieces apart and trying to rebuild our own castles. It's loosely based on the mechanics behind, or mechanisms behind the computer game of Mahjong, not the actual game of Mahjong, which I've never played, but I know Mandy has in the past.
Yes.
So anybody that has played the computer version of Mahjong will know how you can get tiles, but there are slight variations, so it's loosely based on the mechanisms in that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is set up the starting castle. So the starting castle will be set up differently depending on the number of players. There's a couple mats in the game itself that show you starting castles. So if you're playing with 4 people, I'll go to the overhead, and this time, hey, it's working. So if you're playing with 4 players.
Although you're a little frozen there.
Oh.
This is going to be one of those nights.
Stop that. Okay. Let's see. If that's the case, then I might not be using that. Anyway, so if we're playing with 4 players, this is how you would set up the castle. And it's showing you where there are tiers of 3 tiles, 2 tiles, and 1 tile. And that's how we have it set up right now for the 2-player version. So you know this is the 4-player castle, because you have the 4 up here. And then also at the bottom of the board, you have 4 players, 4 spots showing. And that has to do with the rounds, and I'll show you after how that's going to work. But the way we have the castle set up right now is using this layout. So it's showing that it's for 2, and then you only have the last round indicator and 2 players showing. And that'll be relevant later. But these are the starting layouts, and there are other layouts in the manual that I'll show at the end once we've finished playing. So we already have it set up. Once you've got that, you're also going to have these are the round counter tokens. So with 2 players, we have it set up with the stack of tokens and the first 2 spots covered. And you'll be able to take these at a certain point in the game. I'll explain that when we get to that point. If you're playing with 3 players, you would have 3 spots covered, and then if you're playing with 4, you would have all 4 spots covered. But basically, those will come into play as you're heading into the last few rounds of the game.
So just going to jump in quickly.
Sure.
Annette, hello, Annetter's Place, how are
Hello,
you? And you had asked if this game is available in the States. I know here in Canada it's not. I think they're still doing pre-orders potentially for that. I have not seen anyone talk about purchasing it unless they were at Essen. So I'm not sure if that's going to be something after the new year, which I think it is, that's available, but I can definitely follow up and find out.
And is it once Simon gets...
Well, and this is what I think right now.
Yeah.
It's Horrible Games
Horrible
that has
Games,
it,
yeah.
but I think once it comes under Simon's umbrella, then
Which is how Potion Explosion was released here, right?
Then it would
Simon
be
had,
distributed that way. So, but I would definitely think after New Year or shortly before. So, yeah.
Okay. So then we're going to be getting random dragon. Now, in your first couple plays, they recommend you don't play with these cards. It doesn't change the game drastically, but we're going to play with these cards so you can see what it does bring to the game. Can I get to...
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
So the unimpressed face means
it
the
does
camera
look
is
unimpressed.
frozen.
That camera is frozen. That's the kind of night it's going to be. So I will just use the overhead for any close-ups, unfortunately.
Right. And you also have a question of the drink of the evening when you have a moment.
Okay. You know what? I'll cover the cards,
Yep.
then I'll get into the themed beverage.
Absolutely.
So you're going to have 2 different decks of cards in the game. there are spirit cards, and I do love the artwork on these. So we've got spirit cards, and I'll show a few. There's different animals represented. I love that one, the tiger.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
So you've got a few cards here, and these represent, or one of them will represent the spirit that you can try and gain the favor of. So you will only be taking one of each of these cards to play the game. So for the spirit cards, we actually have the Spirit of the Deep is the one that we'll be playing with. So it has the octopus there, and then I'll show the front, but I won't explain that yet because I'm going to cover the basic rules of the game first, and then I'll mention how these actually modify the game. Then you're going to have the dragon cards. So that's your second deck, and these are dragons that you're trying to impress with how you build your castle. And these are going to be additional endgame points based on the dragon that you get. So the dragon we have is the Dragon of Majesty. And again, I'll show the front, but I'll explain what the difference is once I've gotten through the base game rules. So I'll move those out of the way. So you just need the one card of each, and again, in your first couple games, they recommend you don't use these, but it doesn't add that much. Okay, once you have one of those cards from each deck, you're going to have your realm board. We each have our own realm board. This is where we're going to be building our own castles, and one shrine token, which is a little, the top of a shrine. The biggest part of the setup is all of the tiles. That takes a bit of time, but we've got that already done. Then we've got all of the score tokens off to the side and a first player marker. What's this one? So I'll be taking first player. And that's really it for setup. All of the shrines are off to the side. Now, the themed beverage, before I forget that, is Dragon Castle. This is actually a beverage made in the province. It is a craft cider called Dragon's Gold. So I'm hoping to impress the dragon with my castle, and maybe I'll get some of the dragon's gold in the process. We'll see. No gold in the game, just in the beverage.
So for those wondering who may not watch regularly, the province being Ontario in Canada.
Yes.
Just in case. So did you talk about this a little bit?
No. So
okay.
I'll cover that as I'm going into
Sure.
what we do on a turn. Before I get into that, though, there are two categories of tiles in the game. There are faction tiles, which are the red, green, and yellow. All of the yellow ones are going to have those circles on them. Basically, they look like gold. These represent merchants. Now, the titles of them, not terribly important, but we'll go over them. So those are the merchant tiles. These are the green farmer tiles, bamboo. And then the red ones are the soldier tiles. There are 24 of each of those. And those three factions are numbered 1 through 6, which is important to remember, because, especially because of the dragon card that we're using, that I'll explain in a bit. But they range 1 through 6 in each of the 3 colors, with 4 tiles of each number in each color. Then you have 3 special tiles. You have seasons in blue, so that's one of the seasons, and there'll be different shapes. So I'm going to grab that one as well. Mm-hmm. When you're grabbing these tiles, generally you cannot just grab 2 colors that are the same. They must also be the same shape. So you can see those aren't quite the same shape. So the blue represent the seasons. Black represents wind. And there are 16 of each of the blue and black. And then lastly would be the pink ones. Purple, pink, that represent dragons. And some of the dragons are very closely shaped, but again, they need to be the same shape, identical shape, to take them both off. So that would be 2 different dragons.
Did we get it all?
I think that's it for the explanation. Now, on your turn, A turn is quite simple. You can do one of 3 actions, and that's where you've got this player card that I cannot use that camera.
I just want to go there.
Yeah, that's an automatic reflex now, is show on the close-up camera. We have a little cheat sheet here, a player aid, that shows you, ignoring this bottom section here for now, that'll come into play later in the game, you have 3 actions that you can do. So this top action shows taking 2 tiles, and they must be matching pairs, with some exceptions. But they must be matching pairs, and you are going to take your first tile from whatever the highest level is in the current castle. So we start with the highest level being 3. You will always be taking one of those top tiles to start. Then, to do that first action, you would take a matching tile from anywhere in the castle that is accessible. So for anybody that has not played the computer version of Mahjong, an accessible tile is anything that is accessible along the long edge of the tile. So it might be a little difficult to see with the levels there, I'm not sure. But basically this tile is free because it is free along the long edge, whereas this tile is not, because it is currently sandwiched by tiles on either side of the long edges. You cannot pull a tile north-south on the board from the short edge. So you would start with one tile from the top, and then a tile that is also available anywhere else on the board. So that's the first action, is grabbing 2 identical. The second action shows taking 1 tile, and again, it's going to be from the top level, and at the start, that's the 3rd level, and 1 shrine token. And that's all the shrine tokens we have off to the side. The third action would then be discarding 1 tile. So again, you're taking it from whatever the highest level is, discard it, which to discard, you just put it next to your board face down, and then take a point. And that's the 1 point there. And these are all the point markers. So you have 1s, 3s, and 5s.
So yes, and it does feel like the same material as the Azul tile. So I don't know if it's some type of resin or something. I highly doubt it's porcelain. They're not heavy enough. But
they are a nice.
But it's a nice
chunky
texture.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with the
nice
tiles
tile.
of Azul, it does feel very similar.
Yep. Yeah, you can.
You can hear them.
Kind of hear that.
Like a domino
That
clank
clunk.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I also played quite a bit of back in the day.
So, start of your turn, you'll be doing one of those 3 actions. Take a tile from the top and match it with another available tile somewhere. Take a tile from the top and a shrine, or take a tile from the top, discard it, and take a point. Now, once you have those tiles, you then get to place them within your own castle, and you can place them anywhere. They don't need to be adjacent. The restrictions are you cannot place tiles on top of other face-up tiles, and you cannot place tiles on a tile that already has a shrine on top. Once you've placed the tiles within your castle, if you have a set of 4 or more that are adjacent orthogonally, you would then consolidate those tiles. And that would mean flipping them over and scoring them based on the number. So the other side of that player aid card shows scores down this side. If it's 4 tiles, you're going to get 2 points, all the way up to 8 tiles, getting 8 points. Anything beyond that scores an additional point per tile that you consolidate. If you have 4 or more, though, you do not have a choice. You must consolidate those tiles. So placement becomes key, because as soon as you have 4 or more, they score. But if you're looking to get those larger numbers, you need to be placing them in a way that you can then sort of join them all together with 1 turn. And if you're trying to collect too many colors at the same time, that can get really tricky with how you're placing, because again, you cannot place tiles on top of face-up tiles. Once they're consolidated, they all flip face down, and now you can start stacking tiles on top of the other ones. Also, once you consolidate, the other part of this card shows you that if it is one of the faction tiles, the red, green, or yellow, you can then put 1 shrine on top of the tiles that you just consolidated. It must be the tiles you just consolidated. And these will be worth points at the end of the game. If you consolidated one of the wind or season tiles, the blue or the black, then you can actually place 2 shrines. And if you consolidated a set of dragon tiles, you can place 2 shrines, and you get a point. All of that will probably be a little more clear once we actually start doing those actions. I think that's really it that we need to cover for now. I'll cover these once we get to that. Again, those start leading up into the end of the game, so I'll cover that when those are available. Other than that, I think we're ready to go.
Good.
And we mentioned it in the first stream that we had to stop and then start again. Haven't mentioned this one. This was actually brought to us by a request of a viewer who commented on one of the videos wanting to see this one taught and played. So this goes out to Mike.
There we go. Exactly.
All right, so I've got the first player token. So again, to start.
And as a question, as far as start,
Yes.
what do the shrines do?
The shrines are going to be worth points at the end of the game. So looking at that card again, along this edge, it shows you 1, 2, and 3 points, depending on the level that it's at. So if you have the shrine on top of a 1 level, like just 1 tile, it will be worth 1 point. 2 levels, it'll be worth 2, and 3, it will be worth 3 points. Anything beyond that, you can place a shrine on top, but you don't get any additional points for it.
I personally like to use the shrines for, getting rid of them and then using the favor.
So if you're going to be using the favor, now that Mandy's brought that up, there are 2 ways to use the favor. And I guess I should say what these are now. So looking at that favor card that we have, again, that's the Spirit of the Deep. So if we want to gain the favor of the Spirit of the Deep, you must either spend one of your shrines and put it back into the supply, or discard a face-up tile that is in your castle. Once you do that, this particular spirit lets us take 2 tiles of the same color that do not match. So it's showing there a 3 and a 1 that are both green. So as long as they're the same color, you can take 2 tiles off. But again, to do so, you must spend a shrine or a face-up tile from your castle.
So yes, they take up space when you use them. And then, yes, they're good for scoring at the end.
Yep.
But again, also great if you're deciding you want to use the favor.
Now, once you do place a shrine in your castle, that blocks that spot from being from having any more tiles placed on it, and may potentially block any consolidations that you're trying to form. So you do have to be careful how you're placing those. And then the dragon card that we're using, again, this is the Dragon of Majesty, is showing the 3 different factions, the yellow, green, and red. And then it has the X point markers above it. And what that means is that you're going to score X points according to your highest tile in each faction that is still face up within your castle on a level of 3 or higher. Now that may sound like a mouthful.
I totally didn't get it at first. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, so whatever's showing on the 3rd level, face up, count how many symbols are showing on that. That's how many points you get,
Exactly.
as long as there are no others of the same color.
Exactly. So to give an example, if I had this 5 bamboo on a level of 3 or higher still face up at the end of the game, that would be worth 5 points. It's 1 for each of the factions, so 1 yellow, 1 green, and 1 red, whichever are highest. Obviously, you'll get to score.
All right.
All right. So those are the things that we'll need to consider as we're building our castle. So I'll go first. Again, grabbing must grab from the top level first. And once you grab 1 tile from the top, you can then consider what you wish to do. You can see what the options are after that, and that includes grabbing another tile further in. So for example, if these 2 tiles matched, I could take 1 tile off first, and then that second one would be available to take off after it. So let's see here.
Going to be a lot of thinking here.
All right.
So when does the game end? There's a couple ways it could happen.
Okay, I'll get into how that ends while you're playing your turn. So
Sure.
I've grabbed my 2 tiles. I went for the 2 matching tiles. We won't show this every turn, but just so you have an idea what we're doing here. So 2 of the blues, and now I can place them anywhere within my castle. I could have 1 at the bottom, 1 at the top. They do not need to be touching, but once you have a set of 4 touching, that's when you must consolidate. So it's over to Mandy's turn.
Oh, I think this is Mike Jones. No, really. Is that who made the
That's
request?
the Mike, yes.
Mike has made it, so there you go. Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to actually take this here.
Yes, I was saying earlier that I did shorten your handle to just Mike. I hope you don't mind.
This one here, because the outside edge is showing.
Yep.
and they're blue, and I can place them anywhere.
Yes.
So something too of note, and we were talking about this, you don't place one and then the other. You want to place them, gather your tiles, and then place them.
Now that's going to be important for when you're coming to consolidate. I'll cover the reasoning behind that once we have our first consolidation that happens. But the order is take both tiles if you are drawing two. Again, some of the options are only drawing one. But once you have the tiles you're taking, then they get placed. Once all tiles are placed, then you consolidate.
So yeah, so you will see this game better because it's a lot closer to the table or camera, and it's a smaller game. Unfortunately, when we have those large games, it takes up a lot of space, which means we have to elevate the camera. So, but don't worry.
I did bring the camera in a bit on this.
Things are happening. So.
Now you went pretty quickly there, but I'm still going to cover the end game anyway before I do forget because it was asked.
Yes.
The way the game is going to end is, again, you can only take tiles from the top level. So we will be picking from the third level. Once the third level is gone, we'll be picking from the second level as our first tile. Second tile can come from anywhere. Once those two levels are gone and we're only left with the first level, a fourth option comes into play for your turn. You can then take one of these tiles, which is the dragon tiles. And it has a dragon depicted on it, worth 2 points. Once one of them is gone, there'll only be one left. Once that second one is gone, regardless of who took it, that exclamation point indicates this is now the last round. And we play an equal number of turns, so because I start, Mandi will get to finish. And if Mandi took that tile, then that is the end of the game. We play until the end of the round. So those are worth 2 points each, but it's also a countdown. As soon as people start grabbing those, you know that they're now pushing for the end of the game.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so back to me.
Yes. Thinking ahead, thinking ahead.
I'm going to go.
Oh, you went there, did you?
I did.
I was looking at those ones.
So a 6, what did I say this was? Merchant, along with another 6 merchant there.
This is hitting a bit red on occasion, so I don't know if that's an issue. So.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Just, I don't know why, but maybe I think when we're both chatting.
Okay.
Okay.
I know there are a lot of comments on audio being low. So
yeah, so we did increase it.
I don't want to decrease it.
No, just to give you a little heads up. Well, this is not ideal. Well, not at all. So, yeah, I'm going to need a moment here to ponder what I'd like to do. Wow, it's pretty poor. Well, I think I will take this blue tile here, which looks very similar, there we go, to the others, and I will take a shrine.
Okay. So again, that's one of the 3 options. You take 2 tiles that match, you take 1 tile in a shrine, or you discard a tile and take a point. Now you'll see that as we have fewer tiles to work from, we might be trying to see what the other person needs and block them by either throwing a tile away or making sure we don't open up tiles that they're going to need to complete sets.
And just in case anyone is betting on me to win tonight, don't. I like this game.
We'll see.
I'm not particularly great at it, so.
All right, I'm going to go Warrior 2 with Warrior 2.
Something really important too is to check that they're the same. I have done it many times where some look similar, but they're not exactly the same.
Yeah, some of the dragons look similar for sure,
yes.
And then some of the warrior or soldier ones with the swords can look
agreed
a little
bit difficult
similar.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy, this is not really going the direction I would like. So, all right, so I'm gonna take. Do I want to do that is the question. Not particularly. Well, we're gonna. So I'm going to take this green one here.
Yep.
Which has showing 5. And I think that I will also take... I will take this one here on the bottom. And they match. And we'll just start something happening up here.
Okay.
Yes. Don't bet on me, seriously. You'll lose your money, even if it's a quarter. anything that's spatial and I have to imagine, I don't know what it is. I can play the most complex Euro worker placement. I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. As soon as you add any kind of spatial element to the game, I'm like, what?
All right, I'm going to grab the 4 bamboo and a shrine.
Oh, you did that, did you?
I did.
I don't think I like where that's going. Not one bit. Erg. Well, that's not good.
So the reason I did that was taking 1 tile in a shrine, even though there was a matching pair on top, is that looking at the count of how many are left, I didn't want to be the last one to take a tile off, because then that would mean Mandi would have first pick at the second level of tiles as her first move.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get rid of
Sure.
one of my shrines,
Yep.
which will now allow me to take 2 tiles
You got it.
of the same color, slightly different configuration, however.
So then that was getting the favor of the spirit that we have in play for this game, where you can take 2 of the same color. They don't have to match, but you do have to spend a shrine or a face-up tile to do so.
Occasional crackling noises. Yeah, I have a feeling it's when we're talking at the same time. We can see it go red here, so we'll try to be cognizant of that. So thank you, Rapunzel, for letting us know. Remember I told you streaming,
Yep.
yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. Tonight's stream's a bit not like our usual, a lot of things happening. So I'm actually have now 4.
Okay, you're going to consolidate those?
That is correct, by flipping them over.
Okay, so again, once you have 4 or more that are orthogonally adjacent, they must be consolidated. You have no choice. So if you are waiting to score something larger, then you don't want to have the 4 adjacent. But in this case, Mandi's going to score them. 4.
Yes.
So
I
again,
think it's
looking at that card.
2 big ones.
Yep, 4 adjacent tiles will score 2 points.
And now I have the option of putting a shrine on here,
Right.
but I will not.
So you can have a shrine on top of a consolidated set of tiles. When you place a shrine, it must be on the tiles that you just consolidated. In this case, if Mandi was to put a shrine on top, it would only be worth 1 point, because right now that is only 1 level of tiles.
Yes, and that Honshu. Oh my gosh, I struggled. I love that game, but it's like, okay, it took me a minute to wrap my mind around it. So, yes, good memory.
Okay, so I'm left with no choice now. There is just the 1 tile on top. So that's my first tile. Now the question is, what do I wish to do with that?
True, there are some options here.
There are no matching red ones, but I could gain the favor of the spirit if I wish to do so. And I will. I'll spend the shrine. So now I can grab any other red to match with this. And I'll grab this one. Now, where to place? There. And there. So now I do have 4 red tiles within my castle. However, they are not all joined. There's only 3 joined, so I will not be consolidating those.
Really? Well, that's unfortunate for me.
I bet you this is where the noise is coming from.
You think so? I don't know, it's popping. So, no, because someone says don't turn up your headphones too loud, so it could just be loud. Alrighty, what do I want to do is the question. Well, this is not going the way that I would like. Not 1 iota. So, I think, oh boy, I have a couple options. Actually, my odds are favorable. So I will take one of the pink dragons.
Yep.
And the other, hopefully matching. Let's make sure.
Yep.
Yes, they are.
You got it.
And we will do this with you.
Okay.
Yes. That is my turn. Oh, it sounds like a loud click, click,
Yeah,
cracks.
I think it was coming
okay,
from that.
I think it might be
Yep.
Michael's jewelries. So let us know if it keeps popping up.
All right, I'm going to go with 1 sword with 1 sword.
I have Steam Park. I haven't played it yet. So are you telling me that it requires a lot of spatial analysis?
And let's go there.
Stefan fell now. We'll pull one of those out. No problem.
All right.
Well, I don't really like the way this is looking at the moment.
Nothing to worry about.
Right, right. Well, you know what? I shouldn't complain. So I'm going to take this lovely pink tile here with this lovely pink one here. Are they matching?
There.
Indubitably. So now I'm going to place that here, but I do not. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. No, I do not. I'm going to place you. That's not connecting, is it?
Nope.
Nope, we're still good.
You've only got the 3.
Just got to make sure. Still got the 3. Excellent.
All right, so I don't like how many dragons you've got going on here.
Whoa.
There's 2 there that are looking quite juicy, so I'm actually going to break this up.
Oh, you would, wouldn't you? Well,
Yeah.
that's not very nice.
I'm
now,
going
is
to
it?
take that dragon.
Why you gotta
that
play me like that?
dragon. I can't just let you keep collecting the pink ones.
That's
All right.
unfair.
Question is, where am I going to place these?
Oh, Nutters, you picked up Azul. I really like Azul, so we're in the process.
I need that in my collection.
Oh yes, we played it. It's so I love it too. It's a little cutthroat, but I really liked it. We're putting together our top 10s of the year. Suzanne, myself, Tom, and Eric for the podcast, and I don't know. Azul might make it on there.
No spoilers.
I said might. I said might.
Yeah, I love that at 2. That is very, very competitive at 2, and I will need that in my collection.
See, I just bring games over, make everyone love them, and then they want to buy them all. See, I have a strong urge to do something right now, but I could be hurting myself in the process. So I think I'm going to take this tile here. Yeah, that's, yeah. No, I'm gonna take this one here.
And a shrine.
I'm thinking about it. Just a sec.
Okay.
I gotta think here. Actually, if I place it there, I won't score that. Actually, I don't like taking risk, but then at the same time, I really hate it, to be honest. All right, so I think. Oh, this is so hard. Chances are slim.
Mike's saying this seems less constrained and more like a giant math puzzle with special planning also. It is. So this definitely adds an extra layer compared to anybody that has played the PC version of Mahjong, right? That it's just try and take them all off 2 at a time. There are ways around the taking them off 2 at a time, but it's more about how you place them to be able to score maximum points. And that will change every game depending on the dragon that you have in. Yes, you're going to...
I'm going to consolidate.
Okay.
That took everything in my being to do, because I really didn't want to, but I don't want problems next time. No.
So 5 pink dragons.
And now I have an option of
We'll
placing...
score 3.
Right. Which is unfortunate. But...
So I'll get your 3 first.
Now I need to determine...
And then scoring the dragons, Mandy can now place up to 2 shrines if she wants, and this is a may, not a must. Plus, on top of that, scores an extra point. So I'll get you the...
So you know what? I'm going to place 1.
Okay.
At this time.
All right.
Yes.
So it was 3 points for the... Sorry, it was, 3 points for consolidating 5 tiles, and then an additional point because those were dragons.
Yes. It looks like I have lots of points now. Just give it a minute.
Well, you've got 6 points. That's 6 more than me, right?
Well, I gotta get a head start.
All right, I'm going to go here and here.
See, and I was worried you might not do that if I still had my pink ones on the board. Oh, there's that again.
We'll go 1 there. And 1 there.
Oh, the things I could do right now. But do I? Oh, why not? That's just giving it to you at this point. Oh, I could do that. So I'm going to take this one.
Going for the block.
That is literally the only reason why I'm taking it.
Yep.
To make sure they're the same ones. I have a tendency to pull ones that are not the same. And now I have to determine if I want to go this route. Potentially. So I think we'll just do this, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. it's tough because you want tiles for yourself, but then by opening up spaces, you're opening it up for someone else.
Yep.
They may do something, they may not. You don't know.
There are definitely ways to try and block other players from getting what they need, and ideally not opening up spots that
Exactly.
have the tiles that are required for
Which
them.
potentially is, yeah, it's a problem right now.
All right, that's me.
All right, I will. What will I do? I will take this and this. Yes, blink, blink, they're the same. And I think we will place you. I gotta think about this. No, I think I'll place you here. Or do I want to place you here? I gotta think, hold on.
No rush.
Okay, we'll do that. I do find it this game more cutthroated too. I mean, Azul can be like that too, I find. I don't find it horribly mean, but definitely there are ways like, oh wow, your opponent can be like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure you take those colors, and well, you end up doing that and then getting negative points. This game can kind of be like that because you can block people.
Yep.
Which is what I'm discovering right now because he refuses to take the tile I want.
So I am going to consolidate these. So I've got 6 yellow being consolidated.
Okay.
So 6 will get me 5 points. And then I could, if I wish, place a shrine on top of one of those. But again, that's only a level 1 tile. You'll get more points if you get the shrines up higher. So I will wait on that.
Alrighty-roo. So I shall take this one and this one. They are the same. And I do not yet want these to score. Or maybe I do. No, I don't think yet. So I will place you over here.
Okay.
Maybe I do want you to score. No, not yet.
Good.
I'm good.
All right, doors open. I'm taking this one, which then opens up this one. And with those, I will be placing these right in here and consolidating a whole bunch.
A lot.
4, 8, 10.
It's quite a bit. And 10 gets you a lot. I think it gets you 10 points.
10 will get me 10.
Yeah, exactly.
And I will happily take the 10. Still not placing any shrine, though. That's me.
Alrighty-roo. So I think I will... Oh, well, that's not too shabby. I will take this tile here and this tile here. And I think I will consolidate at this point.
Okay.
So I'm going to put it here. So we'll do this and this. All right, and that's 3, 4, 5, 6, which gives me 5 big ones.
Very good. No shrine.
New shrine at this time. It is your go.
It is. And I'm going to go single there, single here.
Wow, we are really just not giving each other that, are we? Wow. All right, well, let's see what we can make happen here. I could technically just do that and make that happen. Although I don't think I like where that's going. Okay, so I'm going to take this screen and this screen down here. And we're going to put that, I'm going to put you here.
Over to me. Do I want to? Yeah, I probably don't want to give you that.
It's not like I'm going to win.
I probably to give you that. Huh.
Well, I'm sure you'll find other ways to prevent me.
Well, I'm going to go here
Uh-huh.
and here.
Of course you are.
Of course I am. That is how I roll.
That's just not very nice. Not at all.
You've played with me before.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so let's see here. What do I
Mike is
want
asking
to
if some of the
do?
tiles in your match are on a different level. It still counts, right? Yes, it does. As long as they are adjacent, the levels do not matter. So right now, as an example, it might be a little hard to see from the overhead, but this green tile is actually level 1, whereas these two green tiles are actually level 2. They're still considered adjacent for consolidating once I have 4 or more together. Good question.
Okay, so I'm going to take this one
Yes.
and this one.
Goody.
Good. I'm glad you like that. And I'm actually going to, I believe I can consolidate there.
Yep.
Excellent. I shall do so. So that's 4. It's not a huge score. But
Get you 2.
Sorry. Yes, 4 tiles for 2 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any shrine action happening?
Not as of yet.
Okay.
So that gets me 2 points. I'm taking a different strategy or approach here than I normally do, so we'll see if it pays off. I highly doubt it, because I feel like it's going somewhere that I don't really like.
Well, now this is open. Can't let you get that. So I'll take those. Where do I wish to go with those is the question.
It's always the question.
There.
Always the question.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I could do that, but then I practically do that, or I do that, or I could do this, and I'll take a 10.
Okay.
Where I want to put you is another story, although I feel like that might be the way to go. Sure, let's do that. See what happens.
So you're waiting for me to open up that blue area.
Well, you have 2 options there, really, and both are not terrible for you. So it's a matter of, yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with this one and this one.
Yep.
And I think I will. Yeah, that works. I'm going to go in here and here. And I'm going to consolidate 5. So
Nice.
5 is going to get me 3 points. And I will not be placing a shrine.
Okay.
So you can go right ahead.
Alrighty, so I will then, I will get rid of shrine to take this blue.
Okay.
And this blue.
Yep.
And I will place them both, one here and one here. So that means I can consolidate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very nice.
5, which gives me a whole 3 points.
Plus.
Well, I could place, is it 2 at this point, but I only have 1.
Right.
But I will place the 1.
So Mandy just consolidated one of the blue, which is the season tiles, which does let you place 2 shrines if you have them. She only had 1 in her supply, so
Yes.
she could only place the 1.
I'm
But
just
that
trading
is
some
maximum points for a shrine, because that is now on the 3rd level. Doesn't matter if you go anything beyond that, you can do it, but you won't get any additional points for it.
Alrighty, Roo.
Okay, over to me. Well, I'm left with this dragon.
Wow, that's such a hard thing.
Well, the debate is...
Consolidation. Every time I say that, it reminds me of Nippon. There's
So
a consolidation step.
here's my dilemma. I must take that last one because that was the last level 2. I could take another dragon of a different shape by bribing or getting the favor of the spirit. I don't want to get rid of my shrine though, because the reason I wanted to get the dragons up to 3rd level was so that I could put shrines on top. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I will ditch one of my tiles that are face up. That's gone, so that I can bribe or get the favor of the spirit.
Yes.
So I take 2 dragons placed here. Yep, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to consolidate the 4 right away.
Wise, wise, wise.
So that I can put a shrine on top. So 4 gets me 2. That's me. Over to you.
All right. So I know someone had asked about, oh, okay, it's been answered, about publishing.
Okay.
Horrible Games, Simon will
Yep.
be the ones bringing it here. All right, what would I like to do? All right, so I guess we'll continue down our trajectory. I will take these 2 yellow here and this here.
Okay.
I'll place you there. And how do I want to play this out as my next?
I am also going to take a point
Yes.
because that was a dragon consolidation. So again, I'll show that now that you've seen how the game is progressing. So this player aid does show when you consolidate one of the factions, which are the yellow, green, and red, you can place 1 shrine. If it's the season or winds, the blue and the black, you can place 2 shrines. And again, they must go on the tiles that you just consolidated. And if you consolidate one of the dragons, then it's 2 tiles, up to 2, and take a point.
All right.
Over to me.
Yes,
right.
indeedy.
I am going to go for 1 tile and a shrine.
Okay.
Placed here so that I can consolidate the 5.
Nice.
And then because those were season tiles, I could place 2 shrines, but I only have 1. And I will do so like that.
Perfect.
So that was 4, getting me another 2. I'll get rid of those. It's me.
I will take this red here and this red one here. I'm going to place one of you here, but I don't quite want to consolidate you just yet. Interesting. That's an idea. That is an idea. We'll do this. Well, yes, we'll do this.
Good.
There's a lot happening right now, so I'm just
There is.
like, what do I want to do?
There is. I am going to one tile and a shrine.
Wise, wise. I will. Either way, that doesn't behoove me to do so. So I think. Doesn't matter at this point. So I will take 1 tile and a shrine, and I will place you here, because I won't quite, not yet, soon.
Good. All right, going for 2 bamboo tiles. One there and 1 there.
Okay. Now I will, let's see now. Oh, I could do that actually. Wise, wise. Very wise, actually. All right, so now I will actually take this red. No. Let's try that again. I could do that. And then do that. That would force that. I gotta think about this for a second here. But it won't.
That's acceptable.
I know, I need a minute. So I realized that there's nothing I can do about this towel. When I was placing it, I didn't think about it. So even if I turn these,
if you do the red first, if you consolidate the red first, then you'd be able to stick a yellow there.
This is on the 3rd level.
You can go higher.
Oh, okay.
You just
So
don't get any. You don't get any additional
points for it.
Yeah.
Oh, so there you go. There's an idea. I didn't even think about it. So with that,
so that's where placing your tiles does become
important.
quite key, because as you're filling it up, there might be tiles that are in the way of other ones, and the order that you consolidate the groups can be very important.
All right. So I think what I shall do is I could do that. Doesn't really do much for me though. But I will take this one here.
Okay.
And a shrine, and I will place it here in order to consolidate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'll be, let me just do this one first here. 5 that I'll be doing, so that'll get me, I think it's 2 points or 3 points.
For 5? 5 will get you 3.
3 points, there we go.
And any shrine action?
We will not be shrining anything at this point.
Okay. So one reason that Mandi doesn't want to place a shrine, the best place to place it would be on that 3rd tier, but placing one here would then block the ability to consolidate those yellows.
Correct.
Now you could place one on the 2nd level if you want to do for 2 points, but you're probably looking to gain more later, aren't you?
Yeah, something to that effect.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I am going to take one in a shrine.
I thought you might do that.
You don't know me.
Yeah, right.
Right. So one action we have not used yet, just to remind you that it is an action, is to discard a tile and just take a point. Now, it might not be the best exchange in terms of a turn for 1 point like that, but if you see a tile that you do not want your competitor to take, then that might be a reason to just discard a tile. You get a point for it, and it's no longer available.
Do I want to do that? Not really. But I could do that. So I think I will. Oh, that's doable, actually. Okay, so I'm going to take. Yeah, so I'm going to trade in a shrine. I'm going to take this yellow and this yellow here. And I'm actually going to.
Ziggy Bobinator using the hashtag of sharing the pairing. I appreciate that.
That's doable. I think we'll do this. So we'll put that there. And I'm actually going to put this here, which will do these ones, which is fine. So
okay.
4. 1, 2, 3, if I do 4. Yeah, okay. Holy lifting. My nails are in the way. Let's do that.
So I'll get you 2.
Yep, so 2.
Good. All right. Taking a dragon.
thought you might do something like that.
So now Mandi knows my intent. I've sort of initiated the final rounds. I don't have to keep grabbing these tiles. If I grab one turn and then I actually see something open up that I do want to play, I can continue on my next turn to do so. It's just once you're down to the first level of tiles, that opens up as an option, taking those tiles which are worth 2 points, but also initiates the end game sequence, if you will.
But we only have...
We only had 2 because we were only 2 players.
So then after this,
it's
game over.
Next one is last round.
Oh, last round.
Last round. So if you took it, that's it. Game over.
Right, but if you take it, then it's...
Because I'm start player, you get
That's
to
right.
you get to finish. Yeah.
That is the question.
So if you're not taking that, you know at the very least you have 2 turns because you would have this one and one
right,
more.
Exactly.
Now the reason there is a whole stack of tokens here is if you were playing, say, a 4-player game, you would have 4 of those tokens put out. Once it got to the last round, let's say the first player took that last one, the rest of the people that can still take turns, if they want, can opt to just take additional point markers if they don't think there's anything better that they can do on their turn.
Alrighty, so with that being said, I will take this, gonna place it here, and take the temple.
Okay. Well, I started the initiation. I will finish the initiation. So as soon as that exclamation mark is revealed, that's last round indicated. So I was the start player. That was my last turn, and now Mandi gets one more turn.
One more sad turn. Boo-hoo. But a turn nonetheless. So let us go with... I think my only viable option here is to go here. And place you there.
And then you would get a shrine for that as well.
Right, that is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone's like, the game is so close. Not really. But, no, not really. But that's okay, as long as you thought it was close.
Okay, so then you add up the points. So what I like to do is look at how many points you're going to get for each element and grab point tokens for it. So I've got 2 shrines that are on the 3rd level, so those will get 3 points apiece, so that's 6. So then shrines for you.
Yeah, it'll be the same. 2.
You've got
3.
6, you've got 8.
Oh, well, that's right, I have that other one, so
yep.
That is correct. And 3.
And then looking at, again, now that you see how this is working, so here's the dragon that we're playing for this game.
Good night, Annette.
And
Thanks
that shows,
for joining.
good night, Annette. That shows that you're getting points based on each of the factions that are out there. So the red, the green, and the yellow. The highest one that you have showing, it still has to be showing face up in your castle and must be on the 3rd level or higher. So looking at mine, I have 5 red, 6 yellow, and 6 green. So that's going to be 17 points for that.
Yep, it's big points. Mine will not be as tidy of a thumb. 4, 7, 11 for me.
And then add them up. And there you go.
Yes. There we go. We did a practice game before this. I got the exact same
Did you?
score.
I can't remember what mine was.
I had 40.
Okay. I've got, what did I say, 10, 20, 30, 40, 46, 48, 50.
No, you did better in the practice.
I think I did.
But that's so funny. I did a totally different way of playing,
Yeah.
and I still ended up with 40 points.
So I think the difference there was I made the dragon, Dragon of Majesty happier with what I had up here. That's probably the biggest difference.
Yeah, because
the total of what did I say, 17 points sitting there.
I potentially opted to end it faster and just take what I had, but I said, meh, a couple more rounds. I was hoping to grab this one, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I was just grabbing the high point ones that I saw available, and then that's when I figured now I need to just shut it down as quickly as possible. But a lot of damage can be done in a couple rounds. If you just start taking those, your opponents might have stronger turns than just taking 2 points.
Yes, all right.
So there you go.
So I see Robert has joined us. Thanks for joining, Robert.
Hello.
We're near the end, but that's okay.
Yep.
So I personally really like this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not particularly amazing at it, but I have fun playing it. And I like the different elements. You can play it without the cards when you're first starting. Then you can add the favors, you know. And I find that does change up the game a little bit. It gives you more actions that you can play with in the game.
Yep. And more replayability with those. Yeah. For sure.
And the different setups, like I know. So this mat that you were seeing is not the one that generally comes with the game. It comes with the ones that Michael was showing you earlier that actually have the numbers on them. And there are different types of layouts that you can do for different player accounts. But you can also kind of, once you are more acclimated to the game or accustomed to it, you can make your own arrangements to make it a little bit more fun. So
that was the...
Oh, we took it off.
That was, yep. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. That's a frozen camera. That's fantastic. Okay, so that is the layout that we used. That was the 2-player starting layout. And then you've got that one for 3. That one for 4. And then they do have a blank one in the game as well, where it doesn't show how many tiles you need. Because what you do then is, in the manual, they will show you some other recommended or suggested layouts. So here's some examples of layouts that you can use. And they show you an isometric view and a top-down view, so you get a good idea of how they're being built. And then they'll let you know the recommended player count for each of those layouts. And there's a bunch here. And then they also give you the recommended suggestions, we'll say, for making your own. So for example, in a 2-player game, they recommended, I think it was 50 to 65 to 80 tiles being on that bottom layer, and then building up from there. So you can even be making your own. So
we'll switch back to the big one.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of talk about when it's available, and I know some people joined in a bit later. From what I was told, that it was going to be picked up by Simon and distributed that way. I will look into it a bit deeper, so if you pay attention to Twitter or any of my social media, or even Michael's social media, we'll see if we can get an answer for that. But I was told maybe potentially after Christmas, but I'd be completely wrong with that. So we'll definitely find out. A solo game? No, I believe it's a 2 to 4.
2, yeah.
It is 2 to 4.
Yeah.
I'm now wondering if there is a way that you could, in essence, play it solo. I mean, you might have to remove some elements of the game, but...
Maybe just trying to hit a certain score.
Yeah, to see if that would work.
Although...
I don't know if that would work very well.
The layout... Because you could just keep on going and not trigger the end game, right?
That's also very
because
true.
The game ends, it's not like a typical game where there is a known end to the game. The end in this is actually variable, and it's based on when people start taking those tokens. So you can see that we still have a good chunk of tiles sitting out there. But I started taking those tokens to actually trigger the end game. So that wouldn't really work in a single player game, because you could just keep on going. You're not going to try and stop yourself from continuing on. Yeah.
I did find this game, there's I had difficulty on occasion. I was confusing some of the patterns. So it is easy to do, so that's just something you have to double check when you're taking the tiles. So sometimes what I like to do is take the 2 tiles and put them beside each other so I can see, because some of them are very close and it looks the same but they're not. So something to pay attention to when you're playing.
It's something that can definitely happen in your first play. I had the same thing when we first played at Ludo, where I think I grabbed 2 dragons that I thought they were the same, and then as soon as I had them in front of me, those aren't the same at all. Yeah. But after a few plays, you'll start to familiarize yourself with exactly what those shapes are, and
yeah, exactly. 10 points is pretty close. At least I'm consistent.
But I enjoy this as well. I wouldn't mind getting a copy for myself. I'm tempted to teach my dad. He loves playing Mahjong on the computer. Now, again, it's only loosely based on the mechanisms involved in that game in terms of which are available. So I know already he's got sort of half the game wrapped around his head how to grab tiles.
Right.
This would be the completely separate action of building your own castle at that point. But he enjoys puzzles, and I think he might enjoy this. It would be very tempting to teach him.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, first game in, and they even tell you in the rulebook not to play with the added cards, just to play the game as it is. So I know people are worried. I know. So Mike, glad you could join us, because it was when you requested, and I'm glad to see that you enjoyed it. Definitely don't feel bad when you're playing it the first time. It's a little tough the first few times that you're playing it, until you get accustomed to it.
Yep.
So
yeah, definitely don't play with those cards when you're starting. We figured we would show it with the cards because it is just that one step further. It's not a huge departure from base game adding those in. And they even say in the manual, once you're comfortable with some of the cards,
Right.
try it with 2. Try 2 of each card
Yeah.
to see what happens then.
Yeah.
I think that would get a little more chaotic at that point.
So, question for Mike: is the tile setup always random?
Yes, the shape that you're using, you would decide on ahead of time, but you are shuffling those. So what I like to do is shuffle them all face down, and then if we were building the stacks of 3, stack 3 upside down, and then flip them over, so that you're not seeing what's underneath each of the tiles.
Right.
Now, there's no way I'd remember what was under all of them anyway, but that's a good way to set it up, so you don't have an idea of what's under each stack.
That reminds me, I had that like domino. I played a lot of dominoes when I was a kid. And that feel of just like, mixing them up. But yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
Now, we've played this at 4 as well.
Yes.
I found that went much longer.
It did go longer with 4.
But still quite enjoyable.
Yep.
Still,
Yep.
you can't block people as easily. Like, you could maybe stop the person to your left, but
Right.
it wouldn't necessarily be as aggressive as a 2-player game where I know what Mandi needs and I'm the one that
Right.
controls whether or not it's available, and vice versa. Mandi knows what I need and she can control what's available for me. So you wouldn't get that as much in a 4-player game.
I
But,
did find this very similar, like with Azul, same thing. When you play it with
Exactly.
2, same sort of thing. You really cut people off. But in
Yeah.
4, less chance.
you have
of it
less
happening.
control of the whole table, maybe
That's
a
right.
little control of the person to your left.
Exactly.
And now that we've played, I can grab some of these and just kind of, like I love these tiles. They are
Just
very
the
similar,
feeling?
like you said, to Azul.
Right.
They're nice. They're
Just
nice
like a-
solid tiles.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. Overall, we enjoyed it. I really like it. I like the fact that you can play varying levels of difficulty, if you will. Lots of replayability. I love the way it looks. I love the tiles.
Yep.
Again, like I said, I'm not particularly great at these types of games, but I still enjoyed myself, and that says something.
Yeah, the tactility behind it is nice.
Right.
And it's a calming, almost not quite Zen-like. It can be a little aggressive with 2 players, but
Yeah.
it's a puzzle. You're trying to solve your own puzzle. So
Sounds as hard on wooden tables. Yeah, it's not like when I played dominoes where they're like slamming it on the table.
Right, yeah.
That's a little different. Here you're just gently.
and you do, we do have the neoprene mat here, but it does come with these mats, so you wouldn't be playing directly on a table. You'd be using these.
Yeah.
So,
So I noticed Mike mentioned Sakura, which is another one that I actually did pick up at Essen, sitting in a box that I need to play eventually. So it looks really good. So if you got it, I think it was a Kickstarter. So if you got that one,
Okay.
that's fantastic. I'm hoping to play it soon.
Is that the one?
It's
where
like a
you-
trick-taking type
Okay.
game. It's in a white box. Anyway,
Okay.
the box is
Yep.
abnormally large, but that's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that later.
Actually, you know what? Now that you bring up box, that's one thing I will say. You're going to be you will want to be careful transporting this. It's not a flimsy box by any means. It's the same as Potion Explosion. Okay?
Right.
The sturdiness of the box, but you're going to have all of these tiles sitting in this bag with nothing in the box supporting them. So if you're not careful, that could end up being punishing on the box itself, because it's all going to be weighted to one side. So you do want to be careful transporting the box. Yeah.
And yes, Mahjong, I know you slammed the tiles, but I was also playing with people that were much older than me. So,
Right.
I had to be delicate.
Yes.
So I think we've answered all the questions in the chat.
Yes.
Unless anything pops up. I know Nervenstein made an appearance, and we're finishing up. I know it's a short one this time, so
Hello,
thanks for coming in. Next, I think it's next week we're here, right? Because I know
Yep.
with holidays, the schedule's a bit weird. So
Yep.
I think
Here
next
next week.
week is our only one for this month. And then it goes into holidays.
That's right, because next week is the 18th, and the week after that is the 25th. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next week we are going to be looking at Harry Potter.
Yeah, we are.
So if you haven't played it, it's cooperative. It'll be
Yep.
fun. We're all playing years 1 through 3, so technically it's not a spoiler because a lot of the time, if you're familiar with deck builders, I think they recommend that you could start at 3 if you wanted
Correct.
to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll start right from the beginning. We'll do at least 2 years. We might do the third depending on time. We'll see.
Right.
We'll
If
see how we're
it's-
running with
Yeah.
time.
If it's too long, we'll cut it a bit short.
But like Mandi was saying, they do say if you're experienced with deck builders, just skip right to year 3. So we'll play those first 2 years with the intent of maybe in the new year, then doing the expansion for it.
Right.
So that would be spoilers, because that would be everything involved in the game all in one play. But we need to win up to that point first before we can do that,
Yes.
don't we?
So we will hopefully we'll win what counters we've been playing. So yeah, so years 1 through 3 if possible.
Yep.
And then in the new year we'll be taking a look at I don't know if we're just specifically doing year 7 with the expansion or something to that effect. But
Yeah.
we'll be doing the later years with the expansion that came out recently. So it will be a spoiler in the year, but we will make sure to label it as such so people don't see anything they don't want to see.
Exactly.
So I think that's it. So
yeah,
my Patronus is the Dice Tower Cruise. Yeah, well, probably. Tom would love that, by the way. So, anyways, I think that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed Dragon Castle. If you have any requests, as you can see, we are more than happy to play them.
Yep.
You can send us an email at Mike. Okay, I always get this wrong. MichaelandMandiPlay.
MichaelandMandiPlay.
MichaelandMandiPlay at gmail.com. I have so many emails to remember. Or if you just have general questions or anything you want to ask us, please send it there. I will potentially be talking about this on the podcast in the next coming weeks when we do our top 10. Maybe this will be on the list. We'll see.
No spoilers.
I know. Okay, no spoilers. Maybe it won't be on the list at all. Don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
And that's it. So we'll be back here next week.
Next week,
8
Harry
o'clock,
Potter.
Eastern Standard Time. Harry Potter, years 1 to 3, hopefully.
Hopefully with no technical difficulties.
With no difficulties. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your patience.
Yes.
Apologize.
Thank you for sticking around.
Yes. And that's it. So we'll
All right.
see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.